I think that makes sense. Maybe a way for me to better understand what you mean by fate is, what would be the opposite of fate?
I think like not. Hmm.
Do you live around here?
Yeah, I live up in Tumwater.
Oh,
I
okay.
actually just got back from an all-girls camp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as a counselor.
How did that go?
It was very, very nice. I'll definitely mention that a lot in this interview.
Where was it?
It was in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
State.
yeah.
Right
Um,
on.
but my stepmom actually worked there for a while, and it's really weird because there's a lot of like really, I don't know how to say this like nicely, but like a lot of rich people and their kids that go there. So there's a lot of like,
Yuppies.
yeah.
Got it.
And it definitely is very exclusive in the, you can only be a counselor like if you're like almost like a alumni, like you know someone going into the camp.
Like a connection?
Yeah. In
Got
this
it.
case, my stepmom went when she was in college, and they're still running the camp, and my stepmom was like, this is a great opportunity for you. So I was like, all right.
Cool. Well, did you enjoy it otherwise, or was
Oh,
it just like,
it taught me a lot about myself. Like I did not know I liked kids because I was mostly an only child when I was younger, and I wasn't very close with my siblings until like maybe this year or last year.
okay,
So going there, I was like, wow, I realized I really want to work with kids.
okay.
And yeah, so.
What is it about working with kids that you figured out that you liked? What was it about kids specifically that got you kind of interested in doing that?
The childlike wonder, that sounds super cliche to say that, but I really like the childlike wonder because like I'd go to work and I'd do something weird, and I never really felt like sounds so cliche, but it's not, I never like fit into a workplace because I'd be kind of like childish, and like working with kids
Okay.
made me like, be creative. Like I worked with like 8-year-olds, and I ended up playing this game called Kindergarten, where I was a teacher and I had to teach them to be quiet. We played like a quiet game, and it was just kind of like nostalgia going back to like when I was a kid and stuff.
Okay.
It's definitely like a nice like way to escape reality, which is something I
Okay.
really liked about kids.
Kids have an easy way to kind of escape the real world
Mhm.
with like their imaginations and stuff.
Mhm. Yeah. You
Okay.
put in a lot better words than I did.
That's cool. Yeah, we definitely need more people that like working with kids, I
Mhm.
think. Emma, right?
Mhm.
EMMA?
Yes.
Cool. All right. Did I kind of explain okay what I'm doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. So, do you have an idea in mind that you want to explore, a conclusion that you've reached, or a belief that you want to explore with me asking questions about it?
Um, that fate is real.
Fate.
Yes, fate.
Fate is real. Okay. Uh, what do you mean by fate?
um, I guess, like, I always believe that there's, like, this is gonna not sound religious, but, like, I always believe that there's, like, a reason for everything, and that, like, these bad things might happen to you, but, like, it helps you discover yourself or discover what you need or what you want. And that there's a lot of, like, scenarios in my life that have caused me to realize, like, oh, well, this all is interconnected somehow, you know? Um, but I don't know how much detail you want to go into.
So fate is, uh, it it's it's an explanation of how everything is connected,
Mm-hmm.
even when you have like personal experiences of that are negative. The reason for those is to uh, grow, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, okay. Did you want to say anything else about what you mean by fate?
Um, that it's kind of, I guess, a path is already set for you, in a sense. No, not really. Like, you could go all these routes, but there's, like, a reason you go down these routes, and that you will go to your certain destination and, like, fulfill what you want. So does that make any sense? I
I
don't
think
know how
so.
to explain it really.
I think that makes sense. Maybe a way to for me to better understand what you mean by fate is what would be the opposite of fate?
I think, like not hmm. Fate is not, there's no, like, opposite of fate. It's like what you set for yourself. So it's really hard. Like, let's say, like, for me personally, like, I got kicked out of my house, but a lot of things happened in that scenario where I put myself in that situation because of my decisions.
Okay.
It ended up badly, but it happened because I chose, like, that fate. There's no opposite of fate. Opposite of fate is, like, not deciding what you want. I don't really know how to explain it. It's like, um,
Could you make decisions that have consequences and fate not be real?
no. So, what decision you make, you go down that road no matter what. So, like, it's really hard for me to explain it, but
Is there a way to tell if fate was not real?
no.
There's no way to
Because
tell if it was not real.
because it's kind of, you know how people are like, oh, nothing happens for, like, a reason, or things happen for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I believe that whether it's a higher deity or, like, you yourself or that person, like, it's kind of like goes to the question, like, what's the meaning of life?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I believe that you live your life to the fullest, and that will be, like, your fate. Or, like, let's say for example, like, someone ends up choosing a lot of bad decisions that lead them to maybe a bad place in life. Like, that is their fate in the sense that that's what they chose.
Okay.
So there's no real consequences. I mean, there are consequences in the sense that, like, what are consequences? Like, things that end up bad for you or bad for other people. Does that make any sense? I feel like I'm not
So.
explaining it that well.
I think well what I'm hearing is fate is basically the result of our decisions.
Yes. Okay. You are a lot better at this than I am. I, like, have a hard time. I know what I'm talking about, but
Yeah. So fate is the result of our decisions.
yes.
So the effects of a cause.
Mhm.
Okay.
Wow. That was very simple. Okay. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good. This is what's kind of nice about doing this is that it kind of helps you, like if, say you've believed fate is real like your whole life,
Mhm.
but you've never really stopped to think about why you think it's real. Like
Mhm.
this kind of helps you kind of talk it out
Mhm.
and maybe have a better understanding of your own
Mhm.
belief or conclusion. Uh, cool. So on a scale from 0 to 100, if I were to let go of this marker, How confident are you that it'll fall to my whiteboard?
I'm very confident, 100%.
100? Okay. Um, how confident are you on that same scale that fate is real?
Like 100%, I
Same?
think, yeah.
Okay, so you're just as confident in fate being real as when when I let go of this marker, it'll fall to the whiteboard. Okay. Um, and did you say before that there's no way to tell if fate was not real?
Yes. I mean, let me restate that. You can tell if it's not real. Because
Okay.
I feel like people can argue different things.
Uh-huh.
But, like, and that's why I'm always, like, willing to have a conversation, like, oh, tell me if fate's not real. But, like, a lot of things happen in my life that I'm like, whoa, this all happened for a reason. And I'm so, like, I don't know if it's, like, I'm just lucky I was, like, gamble of life and I was just given all these privileges or, like, these opportunities. But, like, I guess if on a scale of 1 to 100, like, maybe 50 on, like, whether it's real or not. So let me restate that on. You know what? Let me redo that.
Okay.
From the second question about whether fate is real.
Yeah,
100%.
0 to 100 on fate being real. You were, you are at 100.
I was at 100. Let's do like let's do like 90, because I'm willing to open like my mind to other things and people telling me it's wrong. But like that's what I believe right now. Does that make any sense? Is that a good like percentage?
The idea that you want to leave your mind open, it brought you from 100 to 90.
Yes, because I didn't think of the question like that thoroughly. Yes.
And if there's any point where you need me to like elaborate on the question, or if you want to ask me why I'm asking the question, feel free to do that. So you're at 90. And you said that there was a way to tell if fate was not real. What's a way for us to be able to tell? Do you have an example of how we could tell if fate was not real?
I think some people like might think that do you think that fate is not real, like from what I'm saying? Or I don't mean to turn it on you, but
no, it's okay.
I was just like, because I don't know like examples, like I am that extra 10%, like that's like me opening my mind to like other people giving me reasons.
Okay, got it. Would it be okay if I revealed how I feel about fate after a couple more questions?
Yeah, of course.
That way, because I don't want to affect how the conversation goes based on my view on fate.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. If you change your mind, just let me know.
No, yeah.
Is there a way for us to test it? For us to test to see if fate is real or not real?
Us right now?
Yeah, like if we wanted to say like we wanted to know how long it would take to boil an egg. The test would be to put the egg in water, and once we decide what the criteria would be for a boiled egg, we could test it and then measure the temperature of the water, that kind of thing. We have a way to test it. Do we have a way to test this conclusion that fate is real?
I think like Happy. If I let Happy go, the thing is like I know Happy. You know, Happy is not very good with other dogs. So if I let her out going, she'll probably run out here and like go sniff the trees, and then she'll see that dog and then try to hurt that dog. Not hurt it, but like get all aggressive. And that's the difference between like fate. You don't really know what you get until you like make that decision.
Okay.
Or I guess like because you already know what's going to happen, it's like, okay, well, is that like...
If you already know what's going to happen, why is that a good test?
Because what will happen when there are situations that you don't know what fate will set for you? And that's what makes fate, is like you make decisions, even if you know the outcome or not, It's like taking that big leap. So like for me, here's a really good one.
Cool.
For me, I had a lot of anxiety, and happy here is not good with dogs. And I saw this interview and I was like, oh my God, I want to go. But then I was like, no, like I shouldn't. Like it's going to be like maybe an awkward conversation. I'm not going to understand the questions because I'm not smart enough and all these things. Like I'm telling myself like what I think will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, okay, well, if the dude's still here, like I'm going to come back and I'll join in. And so I come this way and I come back and you're still here. And I'm like, okay, that's fate. Like
Okay.
I want something to happen. If it doesn't happen for a reason, then like, you know, does that make any sense?
Yes. So my question would be, if I was not here anymore, would that mean
I wouldn't have
fate
this.
is not real?
That would be my fate for me. So we would not cross paths then. So it would mean that did I say that there's a set path for you? Did I say that in my...
I don't remember hearing that.
Okay, so there's no set path for you unless you make that decision. So maybe we'll meet in like 20 years from now, but you never know that until our paths cross. That sounds kind of like weird, but...
So the question is, in 20 years, if we meet each other again, that's an example of fate.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean that if we don't meet each other in 20 years, that is an example of no fate? I guess I'm trying to figure out how do we tell the difference between fate, it being fate, and it not being fate, or it being fate and fate not existing?
Okay. I see where... Okay. Let me rephrase when I mean fate is, because I feel like I've gotten that wrong. I'm sorry.
It was the effect of an action.
Yes. So I guess in a sense, like, okay, I meet you here, and then I meet you in 20 years, that's fate. When I meet you here and not in 20 years, that's fate. We had this interaction. That right there is what fate is. Like,
so it's fate no matter what?
Yes. So it's like things will happen to you, and whether they're meaningful or whether they're not meaningful, or like all these different things, like it happens for a reason, whether like this helps my anxiety or something because I was too scared to go across, or this helps your YouTube channel, or this like, or it doesn't do anything between us, but we learn something about ourselves, or we like learn nothing, but it was just an interaction.
So no matter what happens, it's fate.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way to compare it to see if it was not fate, is kind of what I'm hearing.
Yes. And I think that's really meaningful because it kind of answers, like, for me, I guess, like, the question, like, what's the meaning of life? And whether or not I, like, feel it, like, whether or not I live my life to the fullest or live my life to something that's not the fullest or whatever. I think that it's how I feel about it, you know? And, like...
Okay. So how it affects you personally?
Mm-hmm.
Here's a hypothetical question, if that's okay. If somehow you figured out that fate is not real, how would that affect your behavior?
I think that, like, it really helped me, like, thinking fate is real really helped me, like, it definitely drives my life a lot, in the sense that, like, I will be disappointed a lot, in the sense that when I think something should happen, it won't, then I'd be like, okay, maybe that happened for, like, a reason, you know? And I think my life is driven a lot by this new idea of, like, fate, you know? Because I just got to this conclusion, like, maybe a month or two ago.
Okay.
So it's, like, relatively new, so that's why I'm open to, like, anyone saying otherwise.
Got it.
But, like, let's say, like, I get a big job promotion.
Uh-huh.
Like, obviously it's fate in the sense that I worked hard for this, and I deserve this, and I blah, blah, blah. And it's also fate that I don't get it. So I realize, oh, this job's not for me. Like, I worked my hardest, and I did not get that promotion. Like, obviously this job is not for me. And so, because, let's say in a sense that I work in a grocery store, and, like, I work my butt off all the time, and I don't like it there. And so I've come to the conclusion that, like, I'm not going to get a promotion. You know, I don't really like my people that I work with. And it's just a lot of frustrating things. So I'm like, okay, well, I went to this all-girls camp, realized the kids are for me. So now I put in my resignation of whatever it's called.
Like your letter of resignation?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I said I'm only gonna like work for next 2 weeks, and I'm gonna look for a job with kids.
Uh-huh.
You know, so it's like one of those things where like things happen to me for a reason, whether I think it's important or not. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. If everything's fate, and we can't tell if something was not fate because everything's fate, what's the difference between that and fate not being real?
I think it would be not living your life to, I don't know actually.
Because if everything's fate, then what does it matter, I guess? If there's no way for there not to be fate, what difference does it make? I guess that's what I'm wondering. If you found out that fate was not real, how would your behavior change tomorrow?
I think I'd be very disappointed. I think I would definitely like be upset. Like, you could definitely tell me I'm definitely willing to change my mind. I mean, because I don't think I'm explaining it well.
Why would you be upset if fate was not real?
Because I believe that things happen to me for a reason. And so, like, even though I'm the one controlling some of it, that I do believe that there might be, like, someone of higher importance, like, you know, looking down at us and telling us, like, basically that this happens for a reason, in a sense. Like, I'm not, like, religious, but I do believe that, like, there's something out there, like, controlling our fate, whether we think we have, like, choice in it, in a sense. I don't want to say, like, we don't have choice, but oh my goodness, I don't know how to, can you, like, I don't know how to, like, elaborate on, like, what I mean. I just, like, so many things happen to me in life, and I don't know if, like, that is a good, like, thing to say, that fate is real. Now you're challenging me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is it? But I think so many things have happened to me in my life that made me realize, like, holy cow, like, I am so lucky. And I don't know if it's just, like, privilege, or, you know, I want to believe that there's a reason for all of this. Like, am I going to end up being, like, unsuccessful like I wished, or that I don't wish, or am I going to end up being, like, a rock star, or am I going to end up working with children, or am I going to, you know, and I never know. I think I'm at this age at 20 where I'm, like, kind of like, I don't know what's going on. So I'm kind of leaning on something to, like, give me a reason. So that's why I say fate is real, because it's more like a motivator for, like, well, things happen for a reason, you know?
Does it bring, like, some level of security or comfort?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I'd be, like, disappointed, I think.
Could somebody derive security and comfort and attribute it to personal experiences to something that's not real?
I guess so. I mean, can you re-say that question again? I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. You said that this idea of fate being real brings you security and comfort, and some of the reasons why you think it's real is because of some personal experiences.
Yes.
Could somebody use those reasons to arrive at a false conclusion?
I guess so. I think it all depends on how someone would view it. Like, whether they think that, oh, well, this happened because you come from a rich family, or your family supports you, so you have this, like, support around you, and you're one of the lucky ones. But, like, then I ask myself, like, why am I the lucky one? You know, why am I given this opportunity and all these things that happen to me? Like, why did it happen to me specifically? And I think that answers my questions about, like, why I believe this. And so when someone might ask, like, well, there's like, this actually happens in negatively, I think that it's kind of just from different point of views. It's more like I just feel very strong about it because like, I have gone through so many, like, life-changing things, like, at this, like last 3 years of my life. So that's why, I don't know, that's why I believe it. And I believe that people can take what I want or take what I say and, like, change it, but that's okay because I believe that, you know?
Okay.
And
Do you think that 90% confidence is a good place to be for something that somebody could also use the same reasons to come to a false conclusion?
I guess so, yeah.
You're good with 90?
I'm good with 90.
Okay. Is there anything that would raise your confidence
I mean,
that you don't already know? Like, can you think of something that you could learn that would cause you to go from 90 to, say, 95 or higher?
I guess, like, if someone were to come to me and tell me that they, like, made all this stuff happen to me, I think, unless someone, like, no, I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay. No, that's cool. You okay with a couple more questions?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Generally speaking, um, what percentage of the beliefs or the conclusions that you hold um, do you think are accurate?
Probably none of it's accurate.
So like, are you comfortable putting a number on that? Like,
Like, this probably would be a lot of BS that I'm spitting out, and I probably know nothing that I'm talking about, but I think because I'm at this point in my life right now where I'm okay with anything and I'm just trying to find an answer for everything, that, like, if someone were to be like, actually, no, I'd be like, all right. I think, was that your question earlier? I think I would be like 100%. Yeah. If they were, I don't know, if I were to find out that this were all.
okay, so like if somebody were to convince you that fate was not, or that fate was real, then that would cause you to move your confidence up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't answer that.
No,
Sorry.
you're good. What percentage of your conclusions do you hope are accurate?
I hope all of it's accurate. I hope that it's true.
Okay. You hope all of your conclusions are true, but you're not convinced that very many of them are true. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's one of those things where, like, it's like, can you prove that God's real? Can you prove that certain, can you prove that there's life beyond Earth?
Do we have ways to tell if God was not real? That would be my question.
Oh,
It,
that's true.
maybe I'll do like a meta question like that. Do you think it's important to be able to tell when you're wrong? If you were wrong?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So it's important to be able to tell if this was not real. If fate was not real. Do you think it's important to be able to tell?
Sure. I mean, let me restate that. I think it depends on, like, can we go back to the question of the figure out if it's important that if something's real or not? Can we go back to that question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to restate that. I think if you were to prove to me in some magical way that I was wrong, I'd be okay with that. But
You'd want to know.
I'd want to know, yeah.
Wrong. Okay.
But if it were like the thing that was like that, it's not going to destroy me in a sense that, like, if you were to prove that fate isn't real, then I'd be like, okay, that's cool. That's a really good argument. Like, you convinced me otherwise. But, like, if it depends, like, you know, people are stuck on an island and they believe that, you know, someone's going to come and save them, like, and you're going to be like, actually, no one's going to come and save you. Like, I think it just depends on the situation. So I think at this moment with this statement, if you want to prove to me that fate is not real, I will be 110% ready to hear your opinion on it.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it will not destroy me in any sense.
Cool. You have any questions for me?
What do you think? What do you
About
think
fate?
about my statement?
Well, if we're using the definition of fate being an effect of an action, I mean, I would be very confident in that too, just because we could test that. Like, the action is I let this go, the effect is falling, therefore fate is real. Like, we could test that. So, yeah, does that it?
Yeah.
Like I'd be pretty close to where you are, I think.
So, do you think that you can control your fate? Like, do you think you can control it?
Control the effects of the actions that I take?
So you gave me a lot of examples of like you already predict what's happening. So if we put the little whiteboard like flat on the ground and then we drop it, how likely do you think it would go forward, backwards, side, or the other side, like left, right?
I think it would go straight down, and I'm not sure how much control I have in that part. Like I live my life as if I can control my actions, but I'm not necessarily as convinced in being able to control the effects of the actions.
I think that's what I meant before. Is that's what fate is like the reaction to your decision. You know those open world games where that's kind of not really a good example because they kind of have like set endings, but you can kind of choose what happens in those like open world story games. So you can make a decision and then whatever happens afterwards is kind of fate in a sense. I think that's where I lost myself and you in that sense.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's great. Getting a better understanding of what we believe and why, and whether those reasons are good reasons is kind of what this is. This is all like aiming to do. I guess to clarify, I don't think that I can control which direction this pen goes once I drop it, once I let it go. Like I don't think that I have much control over which direction it goes. If that helps.
Yes, that helps. Yes. So I think that's what I meant when I said fate. Because I never really had this conversation with anyone before, and I always just kind of assumed like, oh, fate is just when something happens to you. But I think like you helped me understand what I mean a little more, so thank you. But I never really have like conversations like this with other people, so it's like really refreshing to like, you know, because it's really hard to figure out what I think and what other people think too, so thank you for this.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
appreciate it. Is there anything that like in your life that you think like brought you to this moment in your life, like where you work, where'd you get your education, whether or not you got an education, like how do you think that all interconnected somehow? Is that fate, or is that like more something that you like believe that other people have given you?
I think it's fate if we're using this definition, your definition, the effect of an action. Me choosing to remain in this town, living in this town, an effect of that is me having the opportunity to come down here. So that'd be an example of, if we're using that definition, then yes, that would be fate.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's super important that, like, I don't know. I just really thank you for this.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me explore this conversation with you.
Cool. Yeah, thanks so much for stopping.
Yeah, thank you.
It's really coming down.
Yeah. Did you get the QR code? Do you have a phone with you?
I do have a phone with me.
I can use this, and this will take you straight to my YouTube channel.
Oh, cool. Give me a second.
Sure.
Awesome.
Did it work?
Yes.
Cool.
Thank you. Oh,
Absolutely.
cool. Awesome. What's your name again?
My name's David.
David. Okay.
Emma, it was so nice to meet you.
It was so nice to meet
And
you
happy.
too. It's happy.
That's a great
She
name.
is so done for today. We're on a long walk.
I'm down here often. If there's something else that you want to explore sometime and you see me
Yeah.
down here, feel free. I'm up at the Capitol sometimes, Personal Landing, up and down the Chehalis Western Trail, at other parks and stuff. So if you see me again and you want to chat about something else, yeah, feel free to have a seat.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep. Have a great walk.
You too.